I teach ESL to Taiwanese junior and senior high school students. The junior high school system encompasses the 7th, 8th, and ninth grade school levels according to the American system, and the senior high encompasses the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade in the American school system. From these six, I only teach the first four, so roughly ages 12 to 16. And there's a big difference in emotional and intellectual maturity between junior and senior high students. That maturity difference is something I have to consider as I'm developing a more social interaction and relationship with these students. Being a foreign teacher in Taiwan gives me a bit of an advantage in that students will naturally have some curiosity about me. So that will guarantee that at least some of them will talk to me and ask me about myself, where I'm from, etc. This gives me a bit of an edge when it comes to introducing my students to myself and getting to know them as well. Either way, in the beginning of the year, first class or two, I give out the very popular Getting to Know You questionnaire. And I do that even though I don't always expect the answers to be answered 100% sincerely. For one, maybe the students are shy about their English ability. Maybe their English ability is a bit lacking and they can't fully express themselves. And it could also be the case that they're reluctant to share information about themselves to me. A few weeks ago, I had a speaking test, and one of the questions was, "What is your phone number?" And one girl refused to tell me. Now, I've known her for a few months now, and I think I've established that I'm not going to be a threat to her in any sort of way, but she still did not want to give me her phone number, which is fine. I didn't punish her for her shyness. I can't punish that. But it did make me think that some students, some nuts are harder to crack. And I'm not going to force myself or a student to get along with me just for professional development. These things take time and have to happen organically. I have so many students that I lose track of who everybody is, and it's too bad because some students I actually have really good conversations with, but I only see them once a week for 15 minutes and I can't honestly remember their names. Taiwanese students are so busy. Their lives, to be frank, kind of suck because they have so much homework and so many expectations from their parents and school. So their lives are spent studying. I try to give my students a bit of a reprieve from this life when they're in my class. And a simple chat for a minute or two can go a long way in establishing a more personal relationship with students that supports a student's social and emotional well-being. It could be a simple conversation about what games they play on the PS4. We could discuss Korean pop stars, even though I am very ignorant about that particular subject. But just showing students that, no, really, I do care about you, tell me about your life, goes a long way. One of my students recently came back from a trip to Korea, and as soon as I saw her, I asked her about the trip. Her face immediately lit up when she heard my question. She was happy to share. The language barrier can be a challenge in establishing deeper relationships with my students, but it's not insurmountable. Start small and build from there. Sometimes I have to rely on broken English to have a decent conversation, but doing that is better than doing nothing. When it comes to establishing a positive relationship with my class, I can take time to talk to them, even if that means not immediately improving their English at that moment. Making an effort to have a solid basis for a relationship with students will pay off when it comes time to discipline students. If you've established trust and mutual admiration and respect, when a student does misbehave, you can bring up how disappointed you are in the student instead of strictly chastising or berating him or her. If you can express your disappointment in a student's behavior, it can make the student feel more guilty about it. And I don't mean to sound emotionally manipulative, but it is a good strategy. If a student recognizes his or her fault, they will be more inclined to repair their attitude or misbehavior and try to establish a better relationship with you as a teacher. This is my third year teaching at my current school, and every year I've gotten better. The biggest problem I had my first year in terms of relationships with students was being too much of their friend, and this made classroom management a little difficult. I guess nobody really wants to be a tough guy. I don't have to yell or discipline any of my friends, so it felt strange doing that to people who are only 10 or so years younger than me. Last year and this year I have gotten much better at that. I've been much better at walking the line between being a disciplinarian and being a friendly and helpful teacher. There are still ways I can improve, and there's days where I'm too much of a disciplinarian, days where I'm too friendly, but overall it does seem like it's balancing out in a positive direction for myself.